Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about Lukso and why I personally believe it is like a rocket ship that will leave the planet and go to mass adoption at some point in its future. So for those that are new, what is Lukso and why do we need it? It's because it's a niche project designed for design, fashion, digital lifestyle, and gaming metaverse type of infrastructure. Now, when I say niche, doesn't mean that it only services these things. It can be quite broad in its scope, but it has the toolkits, the specialities, the designs for these specific areas. One of the things to think about is digital lifestyle, fashion, design. These things, the blockchain is designed for these specific market use cases. Gameplay, metaverse, etc. So it's designed specifically for a niche. And I'll get into more like why that's actually important. So as a rocket leaving the atmosphere, it's going to need an engine. It's going to need several things that will allow it to take off. One of the elements of the Lukso blockchain that will allow for it to take off, in my opinion, eventually, is universal profiles. This is a standards for digital identities. It's more intuitive for user experience. One of the major problems with blockchain is the difficulty to use it. Not being simple to use, like using your MetaMask, switching between networks. Many of these things will be abstracted away, and that concept, abstraction, abstracted away, is going to be something that Lukso is a main service provider for, and one of the main reasons Lukso is going to take off. It's management of digital assets, personal data, and entities like modules and different modularities, things like that. So modules being different components built together. The universal profile is an architecture that allows for the blockchain to abstract away a lot of these complexities. So I'm going to get into abstraction because I keep mentioning this word, abstraction. So in programming, in computing, in life, we have abstraction layers. And what that is it's up. You can think of Lukso as a primitive or a base building block of Web3. And when we have programming, when we have different layers of complexity, the way we as humans organize information is through layers of abstraction. So we might have a programming language that was written in a more complicated programming language. This one being easy for humans to read. This one a little more difficult, but still used by humans. And then one a long time ago that's difficult for humans, but had to be made to allow for a more easy programming language. So, and then also going down the binary code, machine code. So when computers were first made, it was binary. The human beings had to write binary into an easier level, and then humans had to do it again to write it into an easier level, and then finally again into another easier level, abstracting away complexity each and every time. So it's like this little diagram. You can see that there's a large structure, but if you look at any individual component, it will be made of substructures. And if you look in the substructure, you can see that that is made up of substructures. So that is the way layers of complexity work. That's the way life works. It's the way we, as human beings, organize data into relationships, etc. So we abstract away levels of complexity. So you might hear the question, why would you need Lukso? You can do everything on Ethereum. You can do anything on any machine that is Turing complete. What that means is a Turing complete computer can do any computer process. Well, Lukso is a layer of abstraction. It removes some of the complexities of blockchain, and it helps move a lot of these complexities out of the way so that there's less that needs to be learned or done in order for end users. For instance, one of the components of Lukso is users don't have to use the current network tokens in order to do handling, servicing. That someone else can handle the complexity. Someone else can handle the tokens, the payment methods, etc. So it abstracts away a layer of complexity in payments. So users don't have to even think about buying Lukso. They could just straight up use the Lukso blockchain, and someone else can do transactions for them. So one of the recent things that are happening is Mainnet has launched for this project. It launched 6 months ago. There was 42 million tokens decided by the community. Right now, the Lukso blockchain is a 300 million cap. I believe it is going to go to a 300 billion cap, 1,000x at some point. It may take years. It may not. But this is what I believe will happen to this project in the long run. It does have a burn mechanism, which means that if this project is successful, everything's probabilities. If Lukso gets mass adoption, there's a burn mechanism, which means that is a dividend to those who hold the tokens, in that the tokens become more scarce and likeliness of price going up increases in probability. So another engine that will drive this thing to growth is something that we would look for in terms of apps growth. So you have the Keys protocol, which is DAO creation and management tools. You have Universals page, which it allows for customizable web presence experiences. Creatives and entrepreneurs can use the Universal pages to make their business models, to provide digital assets and things like the metaverse, etc. And you have Dematerialized, which is once again metaverse digital marketplace for allowing all of these things are in beginning stages. Crypto is still in the beginning stages. That's how technology, it takes time to mature. But these are the apps that are just created, and they are in the growth stages of this blockchain. And finally, we're going to look at recent things that have happened in the timeline of when this video came out. On December 20th, there was Lukso improvement proposals. These are things that have to do with asset upgrades, developer upgrades, flexibility in there's been flexibility upgrades, address management upgrades, but basically a bunch of upgrades. Many of the investors don't really care about these things. These are things happening in the back end. But I will say these are important to look for if you are an investor in a project, because you're looking for this right here, long-term thinking. So like a lot of the projects that you see out there, especially when this video is made, is meme pumping, things that are memes. This is not a meme project. This project, I really believe, is like a rocket. It is something with physics behind it. It is something with humans behind it, with capital behind it. It is like a rocket. And it takes time to build a rocket. It takes time to launch a rocket. It's a lot of physics and math and effort. And some of the efforts fail, but some of them are successful. But eventually the rocket gets liftoff and it goes to the end goal, which is mass adoption. This is not a meme project, and everything that you see with the Lukso blockchain is that it is not a meme. It is something that has long-term thinking infrastructure in mind, and this is just where it is at this moment. December 15th, one of the last things that happened recently was the hackathon with 70 projects that were submitted. Some of the things that were going on in the Lukso blockchain are encrypted messaging, token-gated relays. That's that ability to abstract away payments for users, which will allow for mass adoption. Randomness generators on the blockchain exploration tools, web3 analytics, and full stack tools. All of full stack tools being extremely important. AI resources, extremely important. Cross-chain bridges, etc. So this is some of the things that were funded and started by the hackathon on December 15th. So you can see that there's some recent events even when this video is made. You have events where it had made that launch, you have recent events with upgrades, and you have recent events with hackathons, and you have dApps that are getting adoption. You have layers of abstraction to abstract away complexity. You have universal profiles, a unique approach to blockchains and the interface in the blockchains. You have that this is a niche lifestyle metaverse type of blockchain. This project, I personally believe, is still under the radar. Even when I'm making this video, a lot of people ask me to remake this video. And there's these events show that this thing is still on track. There's huge teams working on it. And 70 teams building different projects, and people with their heads down working. And what typically happens is project, I've seen this even in my own project that I have, is you have lots of time working, and you're just putting in work, putting work. And in one instantaneous moment, your project explodes in price with the 10x or the 100x that happens within a single night. It often happens instantly. So that's the way these things happen. I believe Lukso is one of those projects. Eventually it will get discovered. Eventually people will understand the value here. But, at least people are still working and building and making these things happen. Finally, if you want, take a look at Lukso, download the app for your browser. You can interact right now with the universal profiles. You can even look them up as if they're social media profiles. It's quite amazing. You can even see mine, Intrepid, and you can see how these profiles are architected and running and showing your assets, etc., and allowing for the beginning stages of this rocket getting ready to take off to mass adoption. All right, guys, talk to you later.